when that happens, when that reaction to one person doing something, and so everyone else gets punished, that moves into the next policy as weapons of retaliation.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, we've all seen this where there's been a freedom or some type of benefit or something commonplace in the workplace that everybody liked, and then one person took advantage of it and everybody gets punished for it. Freedoms get clawed back, benefits get clawed back, and then this evasive, restrictive policy or weapon of retaliation gets created in policy or in rule format that punishes everybody. So as a response of, you were all going to do this eventually, so we're going to punish everybody.
Yeah.
And that is another really awful thing that exists in a lot of workplaces.
It does. And I mean, it's unfortunate because what you do, you're causing more problems for yourselves. Businesses that operate this way, if you are, well, you're probably not listening to us, unfortunately. Like,
fair.
You're probably not. But businesses that operate this way are causing themselves their problems. They are the root cause of it, because just whether it's a perk that gets taken away, or whether it's an invasive policy that because somebody, wherever else in the country misbehaved, now everybody has to be subject to these rules. All you're doing is you're creating conflict with all of your other employees. Your high performers are going to be upset that a benefit that they have been relying on is taken from them because of one person's bad behavior. Yeah, they'll be ticked off at that person, but they're also going to be ticked off at you for not handling this well. Just like with the retailer example, I strongly suspect that it had nothing to do with the store that I was shopping at. Right. But now all employees are made to feel like they are criminals because of one person's actions, because you're too lazy to actually put a strategy in place and instead are just going to treat people like garbage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, so this reminds me of, I remember a number of years ago, I had a good friend that worked for this, this international company, and their job required a lot of travel. So one of the perks of their job was they got a company car. And at the time, the rules around the company car was, again, it was a major perk, and it was meant to be a family car that his wife could drive the car. Even when his kids were old enough to drive, they could drive the car, and as long as mileage was tracked separately, it was this great benefit. But then, one day after decades of this being the normal thing, we're in Canada. Somebody from Canada, I have no idea where, drove the company car to Florida for a vacation, and expected that the company would pick up the mileage and the gas. And I mean, something just bonehead stupid,
dumb, like a really dumb thought process.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the company decided to use a weapon of retaliation, and they restricted the company car use to only for the employee to drive, and to limit, and you had a cap on your personal kilometers, to the point that many of the people who have been using these cars for decades didn't have enough freedom of the use of the company car, so they actually had to buy a second car for their home, and park that and only drive it for company purposes, because that was how restrictive the new policy was. And that just blows my mind, because instead of just identifying one bad egg and punishing that person,
use your disciplinary process, right?
They did, but they didn't, or they may have. But they overreact. They instituted weapons of retaliation and created rules and policies that were heavily restricted the use of the vehicles, because if one person did it, everyone's going to do it. I don't know if that was their mentality, but that's what it made my friend feel like. So it's one of those things where, this is a common way that we weaponize policies, is to retaliate and to punish everyone for the actions of the few.